Good morning, everyone. How are you? Welcome to Moving Main Street Forward. I'm Reagan Gural. I'm the Vice President of the Alamance Chamber, and I want to thank Sara, Beth, and the Burlington Downtown Corporation for inviting us to participate in this great opportunity today. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Sara, Beth, and I think we're going to get started this morning.
Good morning. Thanks, Reagan. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited. Our Alamance Strong group of economic development professionals has been meeting since March. And there's a little downtown contingent of us that has been dreaming up something specifically for our downtown businesses. And so we're really excited this morning that we have an all business owner panel of your peers to kind of just draw from some common experience. I hope that this will be helpful for you to think about next steps, think about how we're all having to adapt, and just see each other and hear from the small business owners from all over our county. We have such a wide range represented today, and I'm really excited about that. And so I want to jump right in. It's 10 o'clock. We have a lot of people coming on the call. Everyone will be muted as you enter, just letting you know that. And I'll try, and if I see if anyone's unmuted, and Reagan will too, she'll help us referee to make sure that we can hear everyone. So I'm going to turn it over. I want to recognize Mary Faucette and Kathleen Patterson and Claire Haslam, who have guests, as well as I do too, guest business owners that we've invited to kind of speak on their experience. And so I think we're going to start with Elon today. So Kathleen, if you will introduce yourself and introduce your guests. And then what we want to hear, just as a beginning question from our panelists, is if you'll just tell us your business, of course, and if you're currently open, and if not, what phase you'll be eligible to open in. So Kathleen, will you start us off?
Sure, I appreciate that, Sarah Beth. I'm Kathleen Patterson with Downtown Elon and the town of Elon. And I am pleased to introduce Phil Smith. He's the owner of the Oak House. They have grab and go takeout for coffee, beer, and wine. And then also Peter Ustach, who is the owner of Pandora's Pies. And they have takeout and delivery as well as curbside pickup for pizza, salad, sandwiches, drinks. And they've also tied in with Smitty's ice cream. So when you order your pizza, grab your ice cream at the same time. And those are our two Elon representatives today. And I know Amy's with us as well.
Hi. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I was waiting for a cue. Yeah. So good morning, and thanks again for hosting us and hosting this. So yeah, I'm at the Oak House, and we're in downtown Elon. And as Kathleen said, we're open currently. We're just limiting our hours. We're normally kind of open all day, every day, but we're just open 7 days a week, limited hours, but just doing grab and go. Coffee and pastries and other beverages, as well as growlers for beer and a lot of package beer and wine.
Cool. Thank you. Peter?
So we are still currently open, offering delivery, pickup, curbside. And our hours, the only thing we've done is we've taken 1 day off. Each week we've just decided to close on Mondays to kind of give everybody a little relief and make our other 6 days hopefully busier. And I know there's a couple restaurants in Elon that are closed on days that we are open. So I think this kind of benefits everybody. It gives them some good days when they're the only place in town, and us as well some good days and we're the only place in town.
Cool. Thank you. Mary, do you want to speak for Graham?
Yes, good morning, you guys. Mary Faucette, Downtown Development Coordinator with the City of Graham. This morning, I have with me Susan Haley, who is the proud owner of Common Hands Wellness, and she's been the owner for 2 years. And then Adam Miller, who's a third generation owner Frank's Jewelry, and they've been in business for 73 years. So Susan, tell us how you're doing and if you're currently open or what the forecast looks like for your business. You'll have to unmute.
There we go. Sorry. It's my phone call. We are closed. We're hoping to be open. We are hoping we get to open on Monday. We're doing better than I expected to be closed for 2 months, but it has been a struggle. We've had to do some, we had just expanded and we've had to do a lot of changes to survive. So we're pretty much closing down our expansion, but I have a lease that I'm in for 2 years. So we're turning it into a women's consignment shop. So it's kind of crazy. It's like one side's going to be massage and the other is consignment, but I think it's going to work. But you got to do what you got to do to survive. And that's what we're doing.
Thank you. Adam?
Yeah, hi everybody. Yeah, we've been closed but still doing online sales. We launched a e-commerce website, I guess 4 weeks ago, something like that. I've done some sales on that. I'd had projects that, of course, doing engagement rings and wedding bands and things like that had started back before everything started to go crazy. So we were able to still get those done and get them shipped out. But we opened Saturday before Mother's Day for limited hours, and we're doing limited hours right now with our business, with people coming in and wanting to bring in jewelry for repair or buy things. You know, it's impossible to maintain social distancing in that environment. And so we've sort of adjusted and added some appointment hours and that sort of thing. But it's been stressful, but things have been going okay right now. So hopefully it continues here for the next foreseeable future.
Thank you, guys.
Claire, will you are our Saxapahaw representative today, and we want to recognize you. If you'll just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your businesses.
Yeah, hey everybody, thanks for being here. I am Claire Haslam. I'm with the Upper Mill businesses in Saxapahaw. We have a board, a commercial board that we all get together and make decisions about Saxapahaw. So you all know about the ballroom, the general store, the butcher shop and brewery, and the Eddie Pub and Freehand and Shipwork, and they're all part of the board. So I can speak for most of the businesses. I have some information about all of them. My primary business is the Eddie Pub, the restaurant, and as we've had to pivot like everybody else, we are doing takeaway and frozen family meals, and so we're open 12 to 6, not our normal, but it's helping, I think, helping the community and helping slow any sort of bleed and allowing us to feel like we might still be viable in the future. And we've been making lots of changes. We've been looking at what's coming in there and, you know, coming up for a reopening. And I'm happy that we have a bunch of businesses here talking about it, because I think it definitely is a community conversation that we all are going through the struggles of it, but together I think it makes it a little bit easier.
Awesome. All right, and Burlington, last but not least. Again, I'm Sara Beth Hardy. I'm with the Burlington Downtown Corporation. And today we have Amy Nakhle, who is in a really unique position on this call. She is the owner of Smitty's Homemade Ice Cream and has locations in Graham, Burlington, and Elon. So just such a unique perspective on running a business in each of our local downtowns. And then also we have Tracy Schmidt, who's the general manager at Burlington Beer Works. So Amy, will you start and just talk about if you're open, and you can talk about all your locations, of course, and kind of what you've been doing.
Thanks to everyone. Thanks for coming on the call. I know I'm going to gain a lot from this too. So we never did shut down. We kept all 3 of our locations going, much like everyone else. We had to pivot to doing just door service, curbside service, calling curbside service. We had the one location that was sort of set up perfectly for this, where we have the garage door windows. So we had window service too. There was really in the initial stages of it, both Peter and Tracy were very gracious and allowing us to partner with them with free delivery. So it's not that we were partnering with them, they actually partnered with us and offered to allow customers to be able to order ice cream along with their pizza or their burgers, their steaks, and so forth. And it was a big plus for us. We really were very grateful for that extension and tried to be good partners in working cooperatively with them as much as possible. And it also allowed us to be able to cross-promote quite a bit too, which I also found to be very helpful. We are currently open till 9 o'clock in all 3 locations, but we're testing out the waters in Graham to 10 o'clock right now. And actually this past weekend was the first time, and we did have business coming in on both Friday and Saturday. Not a lot, but it was just the beginning of it. And it's really in preparation for the idea of when things are a bit more open out there, that people would be able to expect to have something to do in order to, that would give them some variety or something to do on a Friday or Saturday evening. So we'll see how that goes. But right now we're keeping the other locations at 9 p.m.
Thanks. Tracy, will you share?
Sure. Burlington Beer Works never closed. We did have to limit our hours. So we limited them from 11 to 8 Tuesday through Saturday, with the bulk of our business really still coming in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But I do feel that consistency has been necessary because sometimes Tuesdays surprise us. I did partner with Smitty's, just like Peter did, at Pandora's. We also have a partnership with Gigi's Cupcakes and the Blend & Co. It makes it very easy because of the close proximity between all of us downtown. We had a partnership with the Blend & Co. though prior to all of the restrictions being set in place, where they're our go-to latte source on during brunch on Saturday and Sunday. We're very much looking forward to reopening. Our menu had to shift quite a bit, to accommodate what guests were really looking for whenever they're looking for to-go. Before, everyone used to have a really difficult time wrapping their head around menu change, but now our specials are really driving our business.
Thanks, Tracy. So you and Amy both spoke a little bit about it, but I wanted to see if any of our other panelists had some perspective on if you have had to, or just your experience with partnering creatively with other businesses to serve customers during this time. And I know that might look different for different businesses. Anybody else have anything about partnering or collaborating within your downtown, using your neighbors and things like that?
I think I'll speak a little bit out in Saxapahaw because we always have to partner. I think it's sort of how we got started and how we continue to operate. So it's natural for all of us to stay in partnership. And then during COVID, making sure that those partnerships are pretty solid. I know the general store is doing produce boxes where they're pulling in farmer partners and local good partners to be able to put together boxes to distribute so that everybody's commerce stays up. We continue to partner with the butcher shop and the brewery. We have our version of beer dinners coming soon. And then other area partners like farms around us that are doing farm stands. And farms have done a really amazing job repositioning themselves in our communities and their ability to connect with consumers directly rather than going through restaurants and markets. And they've been doing some really interesting partnerships with us and other food establishments to round out their offerings as well. And I think that all is very promising. Yeah, so I'll stop. I did see a question about e-commerce, but I'll wait to hear what other people say about partnerships.
Not that this is exactly a partnership, but we have made an effort to extend out into the community and to feature different farms inside our ice creams and to sort of put them out on social media, which I think is a big help anyway, all the way around. So it's helpful for us when people know that we are sourcing locally the ingredients that are going to our ice cream. It's also helpful for the farm that is getting the extra exposure too. So I know that those posts have actually seen more traffic on our social media than other posts that we put out there about, you know, I don't know, people enjoying ice cream or something along those lines.
Cool. So yes, Peter, who's on the call, Peter Bishop, our Economic Development Director in Burlington, put a question out, and I think this is a great question for us to talk about toward the front of the call. If anyone would like to share about what you've done to expand or create a robust e-commerce experience. So this is something that I know has been really critical for some businesses, and so would any of you like to share about your experience doing that?
Sarah, Beth, I will. Our point of sale system, the group that we work with, made it incredibly easy to pivot to online sales, and we were able to not only advertise our food and beverage selections, but retail as well. And in partnerships with some local farms and with Jim, the Hall River wine man, who actually has beautiful olive oil and balsamic vinegar, just expand grocery offerings so that it can be, you know, more of a one-stop shop, so you can avoid those grocery stores if you just need to pick up a couple of, you know, small random items.
Maybe I'll jump on Tracy and I won't talk so much after this. We definitely moved to online sales. We have an online market and that helps a ton. I think a lot of the farms too have gone to online sales for quick pickups, and I know that's helped them. They're doing more business through that than they were in their busiest times at market. For us, we built an online marketplace and then realized that our whole POS system just didn't work with the future and what was going to happen with online sales. And I know Paul reached out to Tracy and talked with her about her POS system and how we're pivoting. So that's also something that we're realizing, that some of our technologies that we've invested in over the last 9-10 years is all now pretty worthless moving forward. So there's some definite investment in what's to come in online resources. And we're also looking to do a quick pickup window to separate so that folks don't have to come inside. And when we move to in-house dining, you know, how are we going to make it easier for people who are continuing to perceive a risk to have minimal contact with us? And definitely the online is a big part of that.
Yeah, I had posted in the, oh, sorry, Amy, do you want to go ahead?
Well, I just have a question concerning this. So are you guys talking about, you've got your customers that are actually able to place an order online for 4 meals off of your menu, and then they can put in there the time of pickup, et cetera, and you're doing it like that? Okay, and is that something that you foresee as being part of the future of how you're going to do business from here on out?
Most definitely. I don't see us really dropping any of our curbside offerings, our curbside offerings or the availability of anything that we have online. That is also something that they were actually able to order Smitty's ice cream from our website through our online portal. So it's been a really nice feature to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you can limit, there are times a day or days of the week that we won't be able to offer that. And then you can limit and turn off the online ordering during those times, for high volume times like Saturday nights or concert nights for us. So yeah, it's going to be a big deal. And for us, people are intentional about driving out here at 20 minutes. If they want to eat somewhere outside, then it's going to be a big help. We're also considering in our first phase of reopening that we will do reservations only, and people can pre-order and have reservations, table reservations, and that's not something we've ever done. And I think that is going to just help ease people's minds a little bit, for those who are going to be very sensitive to contact and a lot of interaction.
Yeah, what I was going to say, I sort of briefly mentioned it in the chat, but our POS system is one that we bought as a future proofing type thing. It does link to online, to e-commerce websites. It goes as far as, telling people when their repair jobs are ready, keeping track of our inventory, letting people order things from our suppliers when we're out of stock of it, that sort of thing. But when everything hit, there was no way that any of the providers that we work with could do a full-blown e-commerce website for us that linked into our system, under 2 to 3 months. And so that just wasn't an option for me with Mother's Day and graduation and Father's Day and all that stuff coming up, to try to get something to get some sort of sales while we were have to be closed. So I know we've done double duty. We've just had to manually go in and enter inventory into the system, manually upload pictures and all that stuff. And this iteration of our website will be obsolete eventually, but it's something that you just sort of have to drop back and punt to make something happen. And we're just doing, basic flat rate shipping to anybody around here, and then in-store pickup or curbside pickup, whatever you want to call it, through our store. So.
Great. Thank y'all for sharing. So something that we talked about as a group together that I think would be really helpful for us as downtown directors and city staff, what resources are most helpful to you as you reopen? And is there support that's not so helpful? So what resources are you looking for, and kind of the ins and outs of what would not be helpful at all, and what would be, what you're looking for right now? Open to anyone.
I can speak on some of that. I think one thing that I know I do almost on a daily basis is try to find news of communities that are further along than Alamance County is, let's just say, and see what is happening in those communities and what those restaurants or businesses are doing, and if things are going backwards or forwards. And I'm looking as far as, internationally, just on a regular basis, just to see if I can find anything, because when you do your regular research on the news, it's just New York City, San Francisco, large communities that are, with the impacts they're feeling are completely different than what Alamance County is feeling or ever will feel, to some degree. So I don't know if it would be possible, but maybe finding a community, maybe it's an international or not, that we can kind of partner with as like a sister, brother community, and see what is working for them, what's not working for them. What steps and programs are they doing and moving forward with, and which ones have they decided not to? Because regardless, I mean, if we can just use history as any sort of a guideline, there's plenty of other places that are much more forward than we are in this whole process with COVID. And I think we should be able to use that as a stepping stone for some of the decisions we can make.
I'll just mention off of the back of Peter that we've been very connected to some family friends in Denmark, and they've been following, they're sending us information almost daily about what their return to work, return to opening policies have been, and I'm happy to forward that on to anybody, Peter, if you want that. But yeah, we've been doing the same, is reaching out outside of Alamance, outside of North Carolina, outside of the country, because you know, one of our playbook references is in Hong Kong. I think for us, small business, and especially restaurant, where we have such high risk businesses and high risk populations that we're putting to work or trying to put back to work as well. It's just a really vulnerable situation, and I personally don't feel like local leadership or our national leadership is doing a good job guiding us through that. So I'm right there in my own search outside of this area in the country to help me make that decision, for sure.
Anyone else have anything on that? Okay. So what are the sanitizing steps, if you'll each share from your business, because you're all unique? What are the sanitizing steps that you're taking now, or any plans that you have for once you reopen?
Well, I'll start. Of course, we are not like the food service industry and all that, where you guys have things that are going out the door. You know, things are coming into us as well now. People are coming in. You don't think about a watch battery or taking links out of somebody's watch or adjusting a chain or whatever. It's been one of our biggest challenges with reopening, is that the folks who are coming in don't understand that there is a possibility that there's a transmission factor between the last person that came in, me doing work with a metal tool, and then you taking your item back out immediately. And so we've pretty much stopped doing any while you wait services, if you want to call it that. Folks are used to coming in and just getting a watch battery or getting something simple done and leaving with it. But that gives us the ability to know that we're doing the right thing, that when their items come in, we've got the alcohol solution, we've got the cleaners, things like that, that we know that we're sanitizing what we're working with. And that we know at the end of the day, in the beginning of the day, and in the middle of the day too, that we're taking the time to wipe off and sanitize the tools that we're using frequently with people. And then of course, we've asked folks not to get us to pull things out of the showcases, you know, so that we can just sort of say, okay, if you can look at them there, at least that minimizes the contact. We're not having to clean every little thing that comes in. Cleaning the door handles, cleaning the showcases, cleaning the point of sale system and the credit card machine and all that stuff. I've moved away from really, you know, asking folks to do debit card transactions. I just swipe it and say, there you go. You know, that way we have less people touching the keypads and things like that. But we've also reduced the number of people in the store to 3 at a time, just to try to keep the traffic down and keep the spacing out, because we don't have a very large showroom for people to move around in. So it's worked out okay, but you know, we're probably going to end up having to take additional steps just to make sure, as traffic increases and people keep coming to the store.
I would like to just ask, I see a lot of other studio businesses, fitness businesses, and other high-touch businesses here. So I own Upside Aerial Arts and Fitness, which obviously we are sort of like a gym setting where we have to spot people and we have equipment that we need to share. So I just wanted to ask the other high-touch businesses here, whether it's massage therapy or stuff that normally requires high contact or sharing of equipment, what they're going to be doing. Obviously, we can't be open right now because we wouldn't be eligible to be reopened until phase 2 starts. But hopefully, if we move to phase 2 on Friday, then businesses like mine will be reopening. And so I would love to hear what you guys are thinking. My biggest concern is, as a fitness studio, we are probably going to have to require people to wear masks. And that's going to be tough because obviously, you know, not everyone's going to feel comfortable wearing a mask while working out. So I would love to hear what other high touch, you know, in-person only kind of businesses are thinking of doing.
I'm there with you on that. And there are so many things. I almost get overwhelmed when I start thinking of all the things. I've cut my capacity in my mind to half, which is 8 students. I wonder, is that sustainable? long term, I don't know. Live streaming will stay. My folks are loving it. So that's been a really great and positive thing that's come out of this whole thing, is that it's been able, it's allowed me to connect more. But so I'm thinking of taking an approach sort of like what Persnickety Books, I think, was doing at one point. They were opening a day for a few hours and then closing. And so that's one thing I'm thinking about doing. I've reconfigured my whole studio so that there's no more reception area. People would just come into the studio and go right to a spot that I'm going to kind of mark off with tape. So and all of their stuff goes in there. So there's no more cubbies to have to clean out. I'm just trying to minimize the amount of things students would have to touch between the time they hit my door and the studio. So that's what I'm thinking for that. Cutting class times down, because if you look at some of the studies that have been done and the risk assessments that you can see out there, I believe from the CDC, the risk of transmission goes up the longer you're with someone. So I'm not going to have any more 75-minute classes. I think I'm going to make them all 45 minutes just during this time. And then, like I said, I'm going to have less. So I might have one class on a Monday and then have another class inside on a Wednesday. That's what I'm thinking for that. But then, so I got it all in my head, but then I think about putting it into play and I'm like, I just don't know. I've thought about also asking students to wipe down their own spot, having individual Swiffers, like a wet mop that people would clean up after themselves. I don't know. And for massage, I'm nowhere near being able to be in a place where I can comfortably provide that. It's a lot. What about you, Mary?
Oh, you're muted.
Who was posing that question?
Cariann.
So Cariann, you know, this morning I'm representing my daytime job with the city of Graham as downtown development coordinator, but I did ask Susan Haley with Common Hands Massage to be on the panel. So I'm gonna kick it over to her since I'm wearing my downtown development coordinator's hat and just hear from her. She's not currently open, but I know that she has had some plans underneath her hat as well. Susan, can you weigh in? You'll have to unmute too.
I figured it out. Yeah, we're in the process of having a lot of things delivered, the PPE, face mask, cleaner that are CDC approved. But when I open up, it won't be, we're always like, you know, you always want to build your business, new clients. That won't be such a push when we open back up. We'll start with the clients that we already have, our regular clients, and those that are in those are the clients that are in the health risk, the older clients or clients with health issues. We really want them to wait before they come back for massage. But we are just changing. There's so many changes and it is overwhelming. Like our waiting area will be closed. We will text you before you come into our space. All the intake and outtake will happen in the rooms. I have some therapists who aren't even going to use heated pads. Everything's going out of the room. It's pretty much the skeleton of so it makes the cleaning easier in between. How a client's going to wear a face mask face down, I think that's going to be impossible. So it'll be either sideline work or it's all, you know, we're all coming together, but and I think it is, like Carrie said, it's very overwhelming because some therapists like to have 15 minutes between clients. Now you have to have 30. It'll be less clients and it'll gradually just build from there. It's pretty much like starting over. Every client's going to have to fill out a new health history form. The face mask alone, it's 500 face masks, was over $300. So the cost is like, what do you do there? Then you have to raise the price for massage. But it's just a lot of extra cleaning and a lot of PPE and watching out for your older clients, because they're the ones who are sending you the text messages that they want you to reopen so they can get back in, because they're sitting at home and they're in pain. And they, you know, that's miserable as well. It's just miserable all around. But and that's our plan is, you know, you can't come in an hour early and sit in the waiting room. You have to come in when it's your time and leave, and extra cleaning. And I have some therapists who aren't comfortable with coming back yet, and they're not going to. They can come back when they're comfortable. But for me, I need to go back to work before I lose everything. It's hard. It's hard to weigh your options. You don't want to do harm to people, but you know, you have to go back to work or you're doing harm to yourself.
Well, I'll speak to something that's on that same track, but as a person who's been open this week, you know, we're all here together and we are so worried. I hear Susan in her voice worried about doing the right thing and doing what you're doing for your clients. But for those of you who have not had traffic in your businesses yet, you are going to be absolutely astounded at the lack of personal responsibility from the people that are coming into your locations. You know, Susan, you're talking about being so concerned about the elderly. Well, I genuinely, the first day I was open, I had an old lady, probably in her late 80s, no form of PPE, no mask, no gloves, nothing, coming into our store with a bag full of 10 watches that needed watch batteries that she just had to have right then. You know, we have tried to make things one way. We've asked for people to wear signs. There are the deniers, the non-believers, all that stuff who will come in and just abuse you. And so that's a fine line that we all are going to have to walk once our doors open back up, because, you know, I joked, I'm the president of the Agrarian Business Association this year, and I joked in an email that I sent out earlier that I've had to invent a new form of martial arts to dodge the people who are just leaning over the counters, you know, and getting right in your face. And that's nothing that we can really control unless we're going to end up just being rude to our clients, and nobody wants to do that either. So
Amy, and can we hear from I'd love to hear from Amy, Peter, Phil, Tracy.
I just wanted to speak to the reopening plan. I know that we are supposed to be allowed to reopen in phase 2. I have several managers that work for me that are older and that want to work. This is how they put food on the table, and they feel it's a lifeline for them. And so I feel like I have to balance sort of, well, how do I keep them as well as possible, and still be able to serve our customers efficiently at the same time. Our 3 locations have experienced different levels of not being aware. So in Elon, there's sort of an enthusiastic kind of student that will kind of come in and, you know, go straight for the door and try and, as Peter can say, as he knows, you know, try and come in and place their order or something along those lines, to Graham really having our staff taking some abuse. Even though we've got everything marked off, we've got places within this, you know, we have the 6-foot distance it's marked off, then we have spots in the middle of the 6-foot distances that say, you know, that this is where they're supposed to be standing. And yet we have customers that have been really quite verbally abusive to our staff. So I don't feel the need to be having people come into the store right now, especially when it's so early on in phase 2. It feels more like a wait and see kind of thing, because I feel that that's something that we're going to be able to have even less control once they come into the store. to be able to sort of monitor their distances from each other as well as our distance to them. So I'd like to kind of know what other businesses are planning along those lines as well. I also don't have the feeling that a lot of our customers are really eager to come inside either, and they're probably paying attention to what businesses are allowing people to come in and making it a point to not go to those businesses. They feel less safe because of it.
Pandora's Pies has no plan on reopening anytime soon to dine in. Our model, and luckily our business model is works more with COVID, and to go and pizza is a much more, it's already set in your head that it's delivery and it's carries well. So that's worked really well for us. And so I just think it would be, it's like Amy said, so many people are not showing any concern and just total lack of understanding for what's really at hand here and at risk. And I've had trouble thinking what would happen, how I would handle if I lost an employee or a family member or an employee's family member. So I think the model that we have now, I'm happy to continue to work. I think for the food and beverage industry, it should stay this way as well. As long as we can, keeping all dining outside. If there's public places where people like to go eat, then that's fine. But in terms of inside dining, we have no intentions of reopening anytime soon.
Tracy, what about you?
I too have no intention of opening inside dining anytime soon either. I have spoken with the city, and I know you guys are working through it, about expanding outdoor seating. With the way that our patio is right now and following the appropriate guidelines, we can only fit about 6 tables on our patio. And so I have requested to expand into Main Street, which I know that that's up for further discussion. But really, if those 6 tables are all that we can have, we're just going to have to stick with curbside dining for a while, because I honestly can't afford the labor to just open for 6 tables. So we're just playing the waiting game right now.
Can you all speak about what sort of industry-specific guidance you're receiving and looking for as you move forward?
The North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association has put out a document. It's the Count on Us document of what they're promoting throughout North Carolina. And I know the chamber spoke to this on our call last week. So really, you know, that is the most clear guidelines that I have been able to find for North Carolina. Claire, Peter, have y'all seen anything more specific?
We've been working on pulling together guidelines from the country. OSHA has some decent guidelines, but nobody, you know, the North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging probably has the most clear, but we've really been pulling information from other playbooks and, you know, what works for us, what we see, and adapting it for us, really.
Same here. What you forwarded to me, Tracy, was the most in-depth that I've read. And I've kind of blocked out a lot of stuff because I feel like everything has changed so much from week to week or day to day, that I feel like I've lost time when I was trying to read into so much of that. That's why I just want to continue what we're doing and not try to get sucked into if we do this or spend this money on opening this or buying shower curtains to separate tables like some people have done. Like, it's just, I found myself gotten caught up in trying to read into all of that it's taken focus away from what I really need to do. And so I've kind of just set all that aside for the time being and just focus on our our current model and continuing to work it.
I was just going to add, it's also, I mean, I think it's difficult. While some things are universal, a lot of this comes down to your exact space, the flow. Like we have 2 doors, which makes it easy for people to come in one door, move straight through, go out another door. But if you only have one entrance, that creates a whole different set of circumstances, or how flexible your space is. So that, to me, while there are definitely some universal precautions, there are so many things that are site specific, industry specific. When we don't really do food, we're all beverages. A lot of the things are custom made, so it's harder to do it online. So anyway, the other piece I was just going to throw out is back to what something Peter said. We're not, even if we could open on Friday, I don't know that we're ready to have people in the space, just because I'm not sure what that's going to mean, and I'm not sure. I want to see how it goes, and it might mean looking at other places and what they do right or wrong, and then learning from it. But I respect people who are trying to move forward and do that, but that's not, what we're doing is working for now, and we're trying to do that the best we can.
And just like the Eddie, we are going to move to reservation only. We've had a reservation system for a long time, and Burlington still hasn't wrapped their arms around us whenever it comes to making a reservation. And I feel like this is the perfect time to also transition to that, because even beyond COVID, it's such a useful tool in helping us plan for our business. So yes, and that is something that will be on our website. I'm going to have posters made to put on our doors, and then it will go out through social media as well. So we will be, whenever we do open the patio, it will be a reservation only.
So some of you have hinted at this in your answers already, but looking toward the future, I'd like to hear from you, and these can be positive or negative, because I know Cariann mentioned a positive aspect, but what are some long-term impacts that you know that you're going to feel in your business?
Well, sort of building a little bit on what Phil had said there, everything is so industry specific for a lot of us, and the guidance I've received from our national and our state associations are more, like you said, the general cleaning and sanitizing things, but then also how to specifically handle jewelry and things like that. But one of the big changes that has sort of surprised myself and my father, who runs the business with me, is we have really cut our open hours down to just a few hours a day, but we're offering appointment hours for folks to have a private appointment. And we have had so much more success with that just in this last week than having to deal with people, one-on-one when they come in during the regular working day, that it is something that we're looking at if this is going to be how we maintain our business going forward. Maybe even have a set day that you are closed, but is an appointment only day, something like that. But definitely, I think that for us, being an older business, almost 75 years old, we haven't pushed towards online sales and things like that. But that's going to be a big thing for us too, to reach out and continue to get the sales and move some things within the county and outside of the county, that sort of thing. And then, like I said, the appointments, I think, are going to be a big thing for us too.
Yeah, I can sort of speak to that. So being a fitness business where we have limited equipment, we already use a booking service. So that actually might be something that would be really helpful for all businesses, is to kind of think about, is there a way to have an online booking system where you could actually have people make reservations so that you can limit the number of people if you do want to do sort of like a phased reopening. And then the other thing I was going to offer just to anyone who is running a business where you actually do require, so whether you're medical, massage, or fitness related, where you actually do require people to come into your space in order to use your service, that there's a lot of great data out there from the medical field. So and I can share this link, but there's a really great article in the New Yorker written by a woman who works in the Boston healthcare system, and they have like 75,000 employees that have to work in close contact with potentially COVID-19 positive people. And so actually the processes that I'm going to put in place at my business is just going to follow their guidelines, because they have 75,000 employees that have not gotten COVID-19 because of the processes that they're following. So I'm just going to literally put those processes into place in my business so that I know that I'm protecting my employees, my students, my staff. So anyway, I'm happy to share that link. I found it really helpful.
Thanks, Michelle. Any of our other panelists want to talk about, even if it's something positive and a new system that you think you'll carry forward that's been really helpful, or something that is really going to affect your business long term that you're having to work around?
I guess one thing in the long term that I keep waiting to hear on and figure out is what the university's plans are for the fall semester. And I know that will affect the county as whole, as we all see generate some income from the students when they are in session. And so I can only hope that the university is clear with their message going forward, and whether they do plan on staying open or whether they are determining for that semester, and make that decision quicker than later so we can make adjustments as needed going forward. And I guess some of the good things that have worked for us, I think during this, is we have definitely used social media to our advantage. And although I do not like having to get on it every single day and try to post something every single day, it has made us a major difference and impact, and advertising with it. And it has introduced a number of new customers as well that I don't think we were here beforehand, that will continue and have continued to become reliable customers. And then I guess one only other thing that I have a concern with in the future is once phase 2 does open and we see more chain restaurants opening, will there be more shortages of product that we have already seen currently from some of our major distributors, and what that looks like going forward. Luckily, we have a number of partnerships with local farmers and producers, so that it's not as big a concern, but I've definitely seen a number of things that we've had to substitute out from brands, or find different resources to use for our products. So that's all.
Anyone else want to share about positive, negative impacts?
Maybe I'll speak just a second on, I think, some negative or potential negative impacts. Well, the success of restaurants in Alamance County, how that's going to work, how local business in Alamance County is going to work, and what kind of support will be rallying around those businesses. And I think as a restaurant industry, we've been reevaluating how the industry as a whole is particularly vulnerable to this situation, and how our staff are so vulnerable without healthcare, servers making tips and relying on tips for wages. And, is this the time that we make a turn and say everybody has equal pay in our restaurant, we offer healthcare, and our prices go up? I don't know. We're working through all of that, but we realize that our employees are a part of our family, and we don't feel like, as an industry, we've done all we can to keep them a part of our family and to take care of them through all this. So I know we're reevaluating how best we can do that, and then also our community health in the restaurant industry as a whole.
Thanks. So we are coming to the end of our hour, and I'd like to hear just any last thoughts about, anything you've seen that's been really successful, for how you've pivoted, how you've adapted, any advice. I know that everything is so specific to your industry and to your business and your space. But any last thoughts on what's been super helpful to you that you think might be helpful to others? Phil?
Yeah, I mean, again, very specific. Our business, part of our business is a bar, which obviously is a high risk thing right now, so we can't do that. So I guess we decided to take the space that we would normally serve those beverages in and then convert that to a package store and do growler fills. And so the space where people would have sat is now full of tables and shelves just packed with stuff that we would not normally have ever done and wouldn't want to normally do. So I don't know. I guess my point to that is just, evaluating the space and seeing what you can do in the same space in a different way and deliver the product or service that you deliver in a different way. And that's, again, somebody said slowing the bleed earlier, and that's all that does. It's not, we can't do that forever, but it does pay a few bills, and it slows the bleed until it's safe for somebody to come in and drink at one end of the bar and somebody drink at the other end of the bar someday.
Sarah Beth, if I may share some information from the chamber. I see a couple of questions in the chat bar, or maybe not questions and comments. In regards to supplies, cleaning supplies, if you don't follow the chamber on Facebook, I highly recommend that you do so. We do have a post out there where we ask businesses if they have supplies available for sale or have access to getting supplies, to share that on that post so that businesses know potentially where locally they can find those supplies. That's a great question. So I would refer you to that post. I would also encourage you that if you find those supplies, go to that post and include it there. It's all about helping our neighbors at this time and supporting each other. And then in regards to, there was a comment about some messaging from the university, the hospital, city and county officials. The chamber is going to have a State of series coming up that will start on May the 27th. There is no registration fee to participate in this series. There'll be a state of business, a state of the region, a state of education, and a state of healthcare. I would highly encourage all of you to, again, follow us on Facebook to stay up to date. If you're not a chamber member, follow us on Facebook to stay up to date with all those opportunities that are going to be coming forward. We're working hard to provide access to people and information for the businesses in Alamance County. If you have a suggestion, I'm going to include my email address in the chat bar. I would love to hear what you all as businesses are looking for right now. We also have a support local campaign going on, and if you want to learn more, send me an email and I'll be glad to send you information.
Thanks, Reagan. I wanted to add too, I spoke with Irvin Allen, and I see that he's on the call, director of our Small Business Center at ACC. They have some workshops coming up this week, geared, of course, for small businesses. They're more instructive. This was more of a sharing out, and it was super helpful to me, I know. Some instructive webinars this coming week, this week, and they're going to be sending out some messaging and information about that later today, if they haven't already. And I'll be sure to pass it along. As well as, I wanted to mention, I didn't earlier, we've recorded this, and so we'll be able to post this on alamancstrong.com and on our individual websites, and then to share it out with our downtown business lists. And so if there's anyone that missed the call or anyone that you think that this would have been helpful for them, please pass it along. Any other last comments? Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to our panelists. What a great representation of our county businesses. That I'm so proud that we got to have you all. It was awesome. Any other thoughts?
Sarah Beth, I just want to echo what you said. Thank you all so much for coming out and letting us know. It's helpful for me as well, just to figure out where I can go and find information for you, so you're not spending your time looking for it, so we can help you spread the word and get that out as well. So appreciate you all taking your time out today to help us out and give us great information.
I think, excuse me, I think a closing comment will bridge back to what Paul Keller said about the mental health resources for those small business owners who may have challenges and may find that they have to close their doors versus opening. As you guys have all heard us talk about our Element Strong collective group across the municipalities. We heard Adam Miller mention the GABA, the downtown corporations in each of our municipalities, that if we can partner together, reach out through emails, this is definitely a time where communication is important. So if there's another kind of takeaway, other than just hearing about how we're going to open doors or make lines and about sanitizing, but also to strengthen our partnerships. So reaching out to your neighbors, seeing if you can collaborate together to strengthen your business models. Thank you all for joining our call. We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. All right. Well, it's great to see you all. Thank you again. We'll be in touch. Thanks.